good, you guys? We are back on another episode with Kupfull with Kennedimarie, and today I have a special guest. I have Kamarious Butler on my show today with the Arkansas Army National Guard. So, first of all, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm chilling. I'm enjoying the nice weather. Even though I can't socialize, I still can, just take in the fresh air. So I'm good. I'm chilling.
Yes, I'm definitely loving the weather we're having. So, first, I just
Yeah.
want you to give us a background on how long you've been in the National Guard and your rank, everything like that.
All right. So I've been in 12 years and some change. It'll be 13 years on October 7th. Uh, my current rank is major. That's one rank above captain, one rank below lieutenant colonel. But yeah, I'm a member of the Arkansas National Guard. I've been with the Arkansas National Guard my entire career. I was living in Memphis when I first joined, but yeah, I still was driving to Arkansas for drill and things like that when I first got in.
Okay, okay. So that's great. So how did you become a member of the National Guard? Let's start there.
Yeah, so I mentioned that I was living in Memphis at the time. Uh, it was after the school year. I was a school teacher. I used to teach high school English, but it was after the school year, and you had a couple of factors that were weighing on me. One, I was bored. I was off for the summer, and anybody that knows me, they know that I like to cook. So one of the things I was trying to do for the summer was get a job at a restaurant. Particularly Chili's. I wanted to work there so I could learn how to cook some of those little recipes that they had, and
Mhm.
like just be able to whip some stuff up at the house. But I had trouble finding a job. Like I could not get any of these restaurants to hire me and wanted to bring me on as a busboy, and I worked my way into the kitchen. I ain't have time for that. I was also thinking about the fact that uh, I was working on my master's degree, and I was looking at the pay scale, and I was like, there's no way that this is ever going to even out. When I look at student loans and then the additional money that, I was spending to get a master's degree, or the additional debt that I was accruing trying to get a master's degree, you know, teacher pay, it was just never going to even out. So I started thinking about, well, you know, how do I get myself in a better financial position? So my initial plan was to join. I was going to be a medic. I get my EMT certification, and that was going to pave the way for me to become a firefighter. And the reason I wanted to be a firefighter is because of the schedule they work. I was like, shoot, man, I can I can be full time and work, which was essentially part-time hours, and get full-time pay. That give me time to get another full-time job or start a business. So it was all about a way to start to be in a better financial position. That was one of the things that sparked it. And I had other factors playing in. Teaching. I really felt like I couldn't impact the students the way that I wanted to, because it required a lot of, to me, required some personal one-on-one attention. And there were too many of them that needed personal one-on-one attention. So I was like, well, if I teach, I can't give it to any of them. But if I get out of teaching and, get myself in a better financial position, I can do some things where I can reach people on a one-on-one, individual, personal level. Like I said, which I wouldn't really be able to do teaching. There just wasn't time to do that.
Okay. So we're at the point where you're already enlisted. And so after that, it comes training. So what was your experience getting the training done and actually building your rank and reputation?
So, unlike a lot of people, I didn't have a whole lot of time between the day that I went and signed the papers and the day that I left. I think it was about a month and a week. The training was a shock. I hadn't really been through anything like that. And even though I was a teacher, coming up in college and stuff, I was a bit of a knucklehead. So again, the training was a shock. And I remember many mornings waking up thinking, it's 4 something, it's dark, it's cold, and I got people yelling at me that's probably not too older than I was.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I could be at my desk having a cup of coffee or reading a newspaper or something. So it was tough. It was a tough transition, but I don't know exactly what to attribute it to. Uh, but I just couldn't give up. And not only could I not give up, I was determined to excel,
Mm-hmm.
even though it was something that I never saw myself doing. I probably even said that I would never do it. I probably let those words come out of my mouth a bunch of times. But once I made the decision, once I got there to the training, like I said, it stuck. It sucked, but it just wasn't in me to just go through the motions. I was determined to get through it and excel, and that's what I did. I had the benefit of being a little bit older, so I had more perspective. I knew that it was a good opportunity, which I know some of the younger people that join, it's tough, or the ones who are thinking about joining. And they just can't see how that sacrifice is beneficial. But I had some time to live in the world, and I understood that this was necessary for me to do the things that I, saw for myself.
Okay, I got it. So I'm glad that you had that determination to push through and already had your mindset set up to go through those challenges and hard times. So, what opportunities did the National Guard present to you that created the success and the financial security that you have now?
Um, first of all, I don't want to put it out there like, hey, I'm good forever. Not
Yeah.
it's not like that. But the pay is a significant increase from what I was getting teaching. But one of the things that happened is when I enlisted, I got an enlistment bonus. I signed for a $20,000 enlistment bonus. And so when I got back from my initial training, um, I got half of that. It was the most money I'd ever had, at one time in my life. It was a $10,000 check.
Mhm.
They just, that was crazy. So that was the beginning. In addition to the money I had been making, like it was just, it felt good to uh, not be in the hole, to have a little something, however short it was, because one thing about it, I wasn't quite prepared to deal with that. As much as I lived and as much experience as I had before going in, I wasn't prepared to have that amount of money at one time, and didn't really take steps to figure out what to do with it and how to handle it and how to make it work for me. Which you live and you learn, but
Mhm.
still, the fact is that the Arkansas National Guard gave me that opportunity. There was no way I was gonna ever get that teaching.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So, just with the financial security, like you said, it doesn't mean you just have money forever, but just knowing how to manage that money, knowing where to put it, knowing where to invest it. I know that they presented opportunities like that to you, and so when you got this, how was it just knowing that okay, I know how to handle my money now? Was it kind of like a relief that you were able to know that you can get out of debt, you can create things for yourself, create a business, do things like that?
Absolutely. One of the things that I signed on for when I signed up was student loan repayment. Maybe at another interview or another podcast or something, we could talk about some of the details of how it works. But at the end of the day, I signed up for student loan repayment. Um, I wasn't able to keep it because I ended up becoming an officer. But student loan repayment was a big part of one of the benefits that I was like, oh, because I was in college, I was just taking out loans. And to be honest with you, me and my roommates, man, we would take that money, pay the rent up, through the end of the semester, and have the rest of that money sitting aside. And it was like, hey, come to the crib, get drunk. you
Yeah.
know, just come kick it. You just got to come to the place. You don't have to bring nothing. We wasn't eating. We
Yeah.
just, were there having fun or whatever. So at that time, I didn't see having to pay it back. So coming into the National Guard and there's an opportunity, oh, this can actually be paid back. Like, woo, because I didn't know what I was gonna do. I had no idea what I was gonna do with the amount of debt that I accrued, and I wasn't doing nothing but teaching school. And teaching is an honorable, noble profession, and my hat goes off to the people that do it. Um, but man, that ain't gonna pay off my student loan.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just not. It's not. It's not. It's gonna be tough. So, uh, I was really excited about that. Um, I mentioned becoming an officer. Uh, when I got my first taste of active duty as an officer,
Mm.
it was set what they call orders. It's almost like a contract. That's the closest thing I can liken it to. It's you're gonna work active duty for a certain amount of time,
Right.
and it was basically double what I made teaching.
Mm.
Not a little bit more. It was
Yeah.
double what I made teaching. So at that point, I had pretty much mentally checked out of education, and my focus was now like I got to find some full-time National Guard opportunities for myself, and that became the focus of my journey and my career in Arkansas National Guard was, hey, I want to find something full time because, again, I literally double my teacher's salary. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it, guys. I'm
Yeah.
gone. I may be here physically,
Yeah.
but mentally, I'm gone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, I definitely want to ask you: did you feel like you were working in your passion in teaching? Like, did your passion kind of change once you went over to the other side?
No, I was working in my passion in teaching, but it wasn't in the right capacity. I'll give you an example. I was teaching 11th grade English, and one of the assessments, well, yeah, one of the assessments that they have to do each year in
Mhm.
Tennessee, they had to write a persuasive essay. And one of the prompts was, recycling should be mandatory, yes or no, or whatever.
Yeah.
And my students did not know what recycling was. And you got to think this was quite a few years ago. It wasn't something that was common. I remember when the recycling bins first started to circulate around Arkansas, and in the area where they live, I was in the hood. They didn't have recycling bins, so they were like, "Man, what is this?" And people always there's always some discord over whether or not standardized tests are culturally biased. I think they are, but I don't think they're intentionally culturally biased. I just think that people who are putting these together sometimes take for granted that everybody doesn't have the same experiences. And I can imagine that the person who was putting that writing prompt together never thought that, hey, everybody doesn't know what recycling is. And
Right.
so I was like, man, these kids, like, they don't, like, their life has a certain sense of urgency to it that the curriculum wasn't addressing. You know what I'm saying? Uh, they don't, some of them, when they came to school to eat, like that was the only meal that they were going to get that day, for some of them, not all of them. It's difficult enough to understand, but their question is like, man, how am I gonna use this? Like
Right.
right now, like what can I do with this? Like it just didn't address the urgency that they had at the time. So I'm still passionate about teaching. I enjoy teaching. And because I'll talk to people that are willing to listen. If I have some knowledge to pass on to you, I'm going to give it to you, whatever it may be, because I'm passionate about teaching. It's just that in that environment, it wasn't an environment where I could really flourish, and operate in a way that was addressing the needs, the immediate needs of those kids.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, that's a very interesting outlook that you have on that, and that you were put in that position just to see, because like you said, people in higher places, they don't see what you see on this level. So definitely. So we're gonna take a break, and it's game time with K Marie. So our game today is this or that. I chose this game because I know
Okay.
that you are one that is full of opinions, and I would just like to know what you like and dislike. So
Okay.
I have some topics for us, and we're just gonna go through it and see what you say. So first one
Okay.
is 90s or the 2000s. So would you like to like go back to the 90s or the 2000s if you had to choose?
Go back to do what?
Like
Live?
just go back, yeah, like live. Like I know the 90s was pretty hot, and you know the 2000s was lit too. So I just gotta ask.
Well, of course, I'm gonna say the 2000s because that was the time where I could do stuff. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? In the 90s, I was growing up and it was cool, but I was still in, high school or whatever. I don't know. I'm gonna say the 2000s. Uh, yeah,
Okay.
2000s was lit, man.
All
Yeah,
right. So
yeah,
we
I
got
had some good times. I told you, yeah, me and my boys, man, we had some good times. Maybe I shouldn't go back to that time because I did enough. Like, ain't no more I could have done.
yeah.
Maybe I should go back to the 90s. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I got it. I got it. So would you rather? So this kind of deals with that kind of sort of, but would you rather like travel forward in time or like travel back in time?
Can I come back to the present from either one?
Yes.
Oh, well, shoot. Yeah, man. I like to go forward in time,
Okay.
man.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
like to go forward in time. Yeah.
Okay. So online shopping or in store. So when you getting your drip, when you copy your drip, which one would you prefer?
As much as I like to shop, surprisingly, I don't really like to go to the store.
Really?
Yeah, and it's crazy because I don't return stuff.
Hmm.
If I buy it, either I'm gonna get it away, give it away if it don't work for me, or it's just gonna sit. So you would think that I'd rather go to the store so I can take it back, but man, I prefer online shopping unless I'm just going to grab some t-shirts or socks. That's really it, t-shirts and socks. I even get my underwear online. So yeah, I just prefer online shopping.
Okay, online shopping it is. All right. So do you prefer traveling in the States, so in the United States, or traveling international?
Well, you know, I have not done a ton of international traveling outside of what I've been able to do with the military, but man, I don't really have a preference on that. Like, I just like to travel in general. I like to be somewhere else, when
Hmm.
I get the opportunity. So either one. The States is cool because you can go somewhere and you right on track as far as your sleep schedule or whatever. And as you know, I like to get up super early.
Hmm.
So, I like having that sleep schedule. You travel international, man. You about to hit at least a 5 or 6 hour time difference. Like that's hard on your body.
And trying to adjust to it, and then actually once you
Yeah,
get adjusted, then you can enjoy your time there, and then you come back and you gotta
yeah,
adjust all over again. Okay,
yeah,
got it.
yeah.
So you said something about cooking earlier. So would you rather cook a nice meal at home, or eat out at a nice restaurant?
Um, I don't know. I really enjoy both. Like I like going to a nice restaurant, but starting the last day of 2019, I stopped eating chicken, beef, pork, and turkey, and so it gets difficult going out to eat. There are a lot of restaurants that don't really have a selection if you don't eat any of those things. They
Mhm.
might have some kind of, generic shrimp pasta or,
Or salad?
something else. Yeah, but there are not a lot of options. So it really forces you to like be at home and try to be somewhat creative. Uh, so yeah, right now I probably go with staying at home
Okay,
and
I got
cooking.
it. All right. So we're going to shoes now. So
Okay.
You copping the Jordan ones or Air Force Ones?
Jordan ones all day.
Jordan ones all day. I knew you was gonna say that. I
All
just
day.
I asked anyway. Okay. Okay. So would you rather have unreleased music from your favorite artist or get like unreleased clothing from your favorite brand?
Man, I'm gonna say unreleased music from my favorite artists because I'm a huge Jay-Z fan, and like to get unreleased stuff from Jay-Z, like I
Kind of
can't even tell
priceless.
you. Yeah, look, I'm gonna tell you a perfect example. Like you younger, I don't think everybody really understands like how serious, how big Jay Z is and was. I remember 2001 when the Blueprint came out.
Mhm.
Um, my mom had the shop at the time, and it was a dude used to come around. His name was Meaty, and all he did was sell DVDs and CDs. Man, I got that Jay Z from him. And so I went back to school. Like it was probably a few weeks, maybe a month before it came out.
Mhm.
Paid $5 for the CD. I remember this dude named Roscoe. He was like, "Man, I heard you got that J." He was like, "Come on, man, I need that." And I know Roscoe, he had a CD burner. He had the 5 tower CD burner. I know have you ever seen one of those?
Yes, I have. My daddy used to
I
burn
don't know, but
all the
anyway,
time.
yeah. So he had the five CD burner, and I was like, shoot. I was like, Roscoe, I sell it to you. I knew I had an extra one. I was like, man, it's gonna hit you for 30 though, bro. He was like, it's whatever. I paid the 30. I gotta have that J. You know what I'm saying? Like it hadn't come out yet, but this dude paid $30 for it because it was like, man, you got to have it. Like getting that unreleased music. Uh, it was it was easier back then,
Mhm.
but it meant more. You know what I'm saying? Like it meant a lot. Like to get it, even now. Like if I mess around and hear a see on YouTube unreleased Jay Z track, I'm clicking on it because I
Yeah.
want to see like, have I heard this? But it ain't a lot out there. He's been one of the more protected people of his material or whatever. But yeah, I much rather have that because as much as I like clothes, I'm really kind of plain. So hands down, unreleased Jay Z music all day, every day.
I got it. All right. All right. So we're gonna go over to food. Seafood or soul food?
Uh, I'm gonna go with seafood. I've never been a big soul food person.
Really?
Macaroni and cheese, uh, and sweet potatoes. That's about it for me on soul food. And I don't even know if people really consider that soul food. So seafood all day, and then again my meat situation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Soul food just
seafood
out of
all
there.
day. Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
it's out of
even
there.
want to look at the table. So yeah. Okay. All right. So would you like the beach scenery or just like a pool? Just a really nice pool.
I'm gonna go with the beach, man. I love water. I love either one. I can stay in the water for hours. That's one of the things that turns me into a little kid. But I definitely go with the beach scene. Like there's something about it. I love it.
Okay. All right. All right. So I got two more for you. So would you rather have a TV series to catch up on or a book series?
Man, that's tough. I I probably say book series. I have trouble really locking in on TV series, man. Like I sit even now, like I sit at home and I just flip through. Like I find it hard to finish a series. I find it hard to start a new series. Like I got so many shows that I've started and I'll be like, man, they good, but I just don't. I can't finish them. I say book series.
Okay. Yes,
I say book.
I totally relate to that. I cannot finish a series for nothing. It has to be really good for me to finish it, but like I don't, there's no curiosity in the back of my head, like what happens next? I just stop. I lose interest. So yes, I agree with
Yeah.
that one. So the last one is, are you the type of person to schedule things, like you like things in order, or just to wing it? Just to wing your day, see how it go.
It depends on what I'm doing.
Okay.
Um, when it comes to, I ain't gonna say when it depends on what I'm doing. It depends on if it's personal or if it's professional.
Yeah.
When it comes to work, I am very much regimented. I like structure. I like to know what's gonna happen. I like to have plans and be prepared as much as possible. I'm only somewhat like that in my personal life. Um, you know, I go to drill one weekend a month, even though I haven't had to, during this COVID-19 period. But I get that one weekend a month taken. And so I do get pretty protective of my Saturdays, my weekends sometimes. So no matter how small it may seem to somebody else, like if I have said in my mind, this is what I want to do today, even if it's just I want to go to the gym, then I'm gonna take a nap, then I'm gonna watch TV, then I'm gonna go to the like whatever it is, like I'm protective of that time.
Okay.
But I do like to at least have the freedom to wing it though,
Gotcha.
kind of winging it in my book. Cause I'm gonna still get up early, I'm gonna still go work out and do all of that stuff.
Okay, I got it. I got it. So that was the end of our game time, this or that. Very interesting view. So I hope that you enjoyed that.